We're about to start the presentation. I know the chiefs don't start until 3:30. We would like to be done before 3:30. Please come in, find a place to sit down. We appreciate your attendance.
I think we're about ready to get started. Thank you all for attending today. And as you know, that the Wellness Ministry tries to bring information on various topics to help us as a community, as a church community. And sickle cell is very near and dear to my heart. My kids are all carriers. Their dad actually had sickle cell disease and lived for a lot longer than many folks who are afflicted. So this is very near and dear to me. It is a blood disorder that can affect anybody. So today we have Maurice Riddle, who will tell us about his journey. Every journey is different. He did bring a couple of people supporting him as well, who are part of the Kansas City Sickle Cell Association. Those living with sickle cell are called warriors. And warriors, again, are those folks who are living with sickle cell disease. So, Maurice Riddle is a dedicated public safety professional and community leader. He is a law enforcement officer in the state of Missouri. In addition to his law enforcement duties, Maurice is a certified emergency medical responder, EMR instructor, providing vital training to officers and first responders. Maurice holds an Associate of Applied Sciences in Electronic Engineering Technology from Rankin Technical College, where he served as president of the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. Beyond his professional career, Maurice serves as treasurer and board member of the Uriel E. Owen Sickle Cell Disease Association of the Midwest and holds multiple leadership roles at Higher Dimensions Baptist Church, including men's ministry leader and deacon. His faith, discipline, and compassion continues to guide his service to others through his lived experiences. You ready? All right.
Thank you, Dr. Burke. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. There we go. Now everybody's waking up. Good afternoon. I'm Maurice Riddle. As said earlier, I do live with sickle cell. I have for 41 years now. I was told by doctors at an early age that I would not live past 18. So I was told a few things. Don't expect to have a career. Don't worry about getting any type of a degree. Don't expect to have a family because you're not going to live long enough to enjoy that. I am proud to say that I have lived to the age of 41. I have a family. I have a daughter. I have a career. I have, as mentioned earlier, an associate's degree in electronics engineering technology. Well, Maurice, how did you get into law enforcement? I got one degree and then found out shortly after graduating that that degree, because of the quick transitions in technology, became useless. So I ended up with a degree that I couldn't use because the areas where that degree was useful were quickly transitioning to new technology, and I would need more degrees and certifications just to keep up. So I took an opportunity. I met a few law enforcement officers that really stuck out in my mind as really strong, powerful men of integrity, and they encouraged me to apply. And Even with my sickle cell, I managed to actually get my peace officer's license and get into law enforcement. But I'm not here to talk to you just about my professional career. I'm here to talk about sickle cell. It's a disorder, a genetic disorder, which means it cannot be transferred from a handshake or a cough. You have to have two parents with trait in order to have a child with sickle cell disease. It's rude, it's very disrespectful, and sickle cell pops up when you don't really want it to. Like when you're getting ready for work, all of a sudden sickle cell says, you know what, I'm not gonna let you put your pants on today. When you're getting ready to go out on a date, sickle cell says, you're not gonna put on that blazer because I don't want you to leave the house. When you're trying to warm up and it gets cold outside, sickle cell says, I'm not gonna let you get out of bed. But I learned to treat sickle cell not as another challenge or someone who can tell me what to do, but sickle cell is more of a weapon formed against me. And Isaiah 54:17 tells us that no weapon that's formed against me shall prosper. And every tongue that rises against thee shall be condemned. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and the righteousness is of me. And one of the requirements of receiving that righteousness is being a servant of the Lord. And that taught me to change my mindset, as we talk about in Timothy. But that also taught me to look at Romans 8:31 and remember that if God is for me, who can be against me? They have no strength. They have no power. So sickle cell, as a late friend of mine used to say, and I love this because in his passing, I was re-energized. He said, I have sickle cell, but sickle cell doesn't have me. And I like to take that quote everywhere I go now, because if I have sickle cell and sickle cell doesn't have me, that means I've got more than just sickle cell. I have power, I have peace, I have prosperity, and I have the ability to live. Sickle cell doesn't just walk around with me, but it affects my blood cells. It keeps my cells from staying loose and soft and able to move around, and it makes them rigid and sickle or C-shaped, and it keeps them from being able to move through my veins quickly and effectively, which causes pain crisis episodes. And as my nurse practitioner once taught me, that a sickle cell crisis is not just pain. There are other things that happen during a sickle cell crisis. There's organ damage, or our silent symptoms. There's organ damage. You don't even know what's happening. Your lungs are weakened. Your kidney is damaged. Your liver is destroyed. You can't build muscle like everyone else builds muscle, because while you're breaking those muscles down, you need cells to build them back up. And sickle cell is killing off those cells to the point where all you're doing in a workout is damaging healthy muscle. You're not actually able to rebuild. Other things that happen with sickle cell is a constant need for hydration. Water is important for someone with sickle cell and for someone with sickle cell trait, whether they be an athlete or not. Access to water and oxygen are important. I'm not just here to talk about my journey with sickle cell. I'm also here to talk about something that's become near and dear to my heart. In my journey with sickle cell, I was born and raised in St. Louis. I eventually made it out here to Kansas City. And through my care provider, I was introduced to the Uriel, EO, and Sickle Cell Disease Association of the Midwest. This wasn't an easy thing for me to join, an organization for me to join. She talked about the board of directors for off and on 5 years before I attended my first board meeting. And when I did that, I said, there's an opportunity here to do something different, because God has given me the energy. He's given me the power. He's given me an opportunity. And as I tell my church family, anytime I have the energy to do something, especially something that helps someone else, Brother Evans, is he in here? He's not in here because he sure was in my notes today and he spoke a word into me. If I have the energy to do something, I have the obligation to do something. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's a constant reminder every day that I wake up, that I don't wake up because I have my own energy. I don't wake up because I have my own power. I wake up because God gave me the ability to wake up. God gave me the ability to move around. And in that, I also have had to learn that God doesn't make mistakes, and nothing he sets up was set up on accident. So I was delivered into Kansas City on purpose. I was delivered to the association on purpose. I had a reason to be here. There's a reason God kept me past the age of 18 and into 41. And I pray that I have more time, because I believe that Uriel E. Owen Sickle Cell Association has a lot of work to do. There's a community, there's a population within this community that's affected with sickle cell. And presentations like this, educational presentations like this, is not all we do. We also provide support for families who need it, whether it be financial support, emergency assistance, rent, food, medication, non-opioid medications. We do the community education events. We also provide advocacy referrals. So imagine being a black man or a black woman in this population, in this location, in this area, and you have to go to the ER. And the doctors, nurses, first of all, don't triage you because you're in pain and you're doing what we call the sickle cell rock, and you're shaking. Their mindset doesn't say that this is a person with sickle cell. This is a drug seeker. I need morphine to relieve my pain. I need IV fluids to help me sustain, and I need access to oxygen, but you're treating me like a drug seeker. What do we do at Uriel E. Owen Sickle Cell Midwest? As an advocacy referral, we have occasional opportunities for someone to call the hospital on your behalf. We have access to doctors and nurses who may actually be able to help guide and get you through the waiting room. Thank God that reports are saying now that people with sickle cell are actually being treated and sent through hospital ERs in about 30 minutes. But there's a time where I remember sitting 3 hours in a waiting room to be sent to an exam room. I sat another 2 hours in the exam room just for the doctor to walk in and say, "You look good enough to leave now." I was never given pain meds. And even though I hit the nurse call button over and over and over, the fact that I was in a suit because I missed church that day because I was in pain told the doctor that I was okay and I didn't actually need anything. Other things that Sickle Cell Midwest does, you'll hear me refer to the organization as Sickle Cell Midwest or UEO. I prefer UEO most of the time because it was named after Uriel E. Owens, a civil rights activist in Kansas City, who did a lot of fighting. Another thing we do is we have 2 scholarships. One for any sickle cell warrior in this area to be able to go to college. And then we have the LaDonna Ray Kirkwood Champions for Children Scholarship, specifically for anyone who's going into any medical field, specifically to help children with sickle cell. So whether you're becoming a phlebotomist who can learn to find these weak and veins that like to play hide and seek and roll over, or you want to become a nurse or a doctor to treat people with sickle cell, we have scholarships available for it. And then we have different support programs. Imagine having a disorder where you may be the only person at work that has it. You may be the only person at work that knows of it. And then you have a support group that you can speak with, and we call it the community check-in. And just check in. How was your week? How was your month? How are you feeling? What can we do? Text message, phone call, let's just talk about it. Now I'll admit, here lately, the ladies have taken over the support group meetings, so I'll back away a little bit because, so I back away just a little bit. But we do have that support group there, and we're hoping to start a men's group because there are other things that sickle cell affects, reproductive health. Women have one issue, men have another issue. And the two sides are embarrassed to talk about it themselves. So imagine trying to have a woman explain to a man about men's reproductive health. That's something that's going to be a lot easier for a man to explain. If we can go to the next slide, please. What are some of the things that can help us as an organization? We need support. We need help. We reach out, and you hear Sickle Cell Midwest because we do support people in Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, and our reach has now made it all the way down to Wichita, Kansas. Those are people asking for things. We need support. We need help, financial help. We need donation items occasionally, and it's just to help us help someone else. We heard Brother Evans talk about earlier, I don't have it in the budget. I don't have it in the budget either. And there are a lot of families whose budget is tied down with having a place to stay, food to eat, and just enough money left for medications. And we have been tasked with the opportunity to try and help those families. Support comes in many different ways. If you scan the QR code, it actually goes to our website. There's a donations page on our website. There's events that are coming up that you may be able to help volunteer for. But, excuse me, as far as what we do as an organization with that support, our board of directors are 100% volunteers. No one gets paid. We don't get $1 of anything that's collected. Everything goes to supporting the community. And with our limited assistance, we're hoping, we have already actually this year reached more families, and we've increased our assistance because of donations from people who care, people who have the opportunity and the ability to help. As far as, I want to go back a little bit, education programs. Has everybody here has heard of sickle cell? If nothing else, you heard me say something about it today. Has anybody heard of treatment programs for sickle cell? There's a lot of pharmaceutical companies out there who have a lot of different treatment plans. Sickle cell is not all about just going to the ER, taking pain meds, and then going back home and waiting for the next sickle cell crisis to happen. I just talked about my career in law enforcement. That's not easy. I go to work some mornings already in pain, and ibuprofen, Tylenol get me home until I can take something stronger. But there are also medications that help you not have so much pain. There are medications that help your blood cells hold more oxygen. It helps them to not sickle as much. We have blood transfusions that help a lot of sickle cell warriors. A lot of our population have to have blood transfusions. Some people monthly, some people every 6 weeks, some people more often. But then there are other new therapies out there. Gene editing therapies, where you go into the hospital for a little while, they collect some stem cells. One therapy edits your gene, and then those stem cells go back. The other gene therapy adds something to your genetics, and then it goes back. And what that does is it tells your bone marrow to create more adult hemoglobin or to create more of what's called fetal hemoglobin, which everybody's born with it, but after birth, your body is told to switch it off. So you'll either produce more adult hemoglobin or more fetal hemoglobin. And if your bone marrow is focused on creating more healthy hemoglobin, it will not create as much sickle cell hemoglobin. It doesn't mean that that's the cure for sickle cell, but it's what we call a curative treatment. Those treatments come with a few problems, and I'm not a medical expert, so I cannot speak to what all of the problems are. I have brought some educational pamphlets with us. I have some of our brochures. There's a healthcare provider's guide to sickle cell. Actually, we have these from Children's Mercy Hospital. And then I have some books called Living Well with Sickle Cell, and that's a handbook for parents and caregivers. But I also brought some brochures and some information packets from Vertex Pharmaceuticals. That's one of the agencies that's making one of the gene editing therapies called Casgevy. And it's just one treatment that's already FDA approved that's starting to help lives. So when we talk about sickle cell and we talk about some of the people that can go to work, we also talk about some of the people who can't go to work. And imagine having your genes edited to the point where you can go to work, become more productive members in society, and then make it to church on Sunday mornings. Amen? An opportunity to teach becomes an opportunity to heal. An opportunity to heal becomes a healthy population. Can we go to the next slide, please? As we continue on to move in our journey with supporting sickle cell, I said earlier that support comes in many different ways. If you can't support financially, look at our website, check out our events page. You may find an opportunity to just volunteer. Pop in. Our board of directors are all volunteers. We're the first ones to show up to events and the last ones to leave. But if we had 10 or 15 heads that can help man a table, if we had 10 or 15 heads that can bring us information and say, hey, this person really needs to talk to you. If we had 10 or 15 heads to help serve a meal, that would help us tremendously. Next slide, please. Donations and volunteer opportunities again. We have a holiday toy drive coming up, October 15th through November the 17th. I'm sorry, that says December 6th. I pushed this out a little bit. The toy drive actually ends November 17th, but because of the short notice, I put my phone number up there. I prefer texts over a phone call, but if you can call or text for the toy drive, anything happening after November 17th, just let me know directly and I can arrange pickup. Otherwise, email us at info@sicklecellmidwest.org. If the church is willing to set up a toy drive, if you're willing to go back to work or any other organization that you work with, you can set up a toy drive, let us know. As I mentioned earlier, there are other families out there dealing with sickle cell. There are families with multiple children who have sickle cell. And because their finances are tied up in medications, we're helping pay some of their bills. And a dollar donated to our organization is $1 that some little girl would not have had an opportunity to have. It's something that she can play with, yes, but the distraction that she can receive while she's in the hospital receiving treatment also speaks wonders. Next slide, if we have it. I have an opportunity now to ask you to contact us. Our website's up there, the QR codes are up there, our email address is up there, but right now we have an opportunity for questions. Do we have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, would you elaborate on giving blood? The reason why I asked, because I was a help to one of the guys that has sickle cell, and right now, due to my health issues, I'm not able to, but I do want to volunteer. But when I went to this event, my sister Alice went with me. We had a few of us there, and way I understood it that most of us have the disease, if that's what they want to call it, whatever. But this guy was black. I have an article that I took with him. We were on TV and stuff like that. But the importance of giving blood.
Okay.
The blood that I did give, it was able to help him and other people. But like I said, I'm not able to give because of my health, but I do want to do other things.
Okay, let's talk about giving blood. Before I talk about giving blood, I want to preface this. I am not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I am not authorized, nor am I attempting to give medical advice. I strongly recommend that you seek a blood donation organization or talk to your medical provider before making a medical decision. Blood. For those of us sickle cell warriors who have to receive blood or are able to receive blood, donations are important. Donations from universal carriers are preferred, but donations from people who look like us is also important, because a black person donating blood has a closer genetic tie to the person that's going to receive it, and because of that, there's less of a risk of donor rejection. Donor rejection is something that can make you even sicker than you were before you received blood. So when you're talking about not being healthy enough to receive blood, those are things that you want to take into consideration. But when you also talk about those of us in the community, a lot of people have sickle cell traits and don't know it. So what you'll be told by a blood donation or at a blood drive is because you have sickle cell trait, you cannot donate blood. You can donate plasma. They leave that part out a lot. You can still donate plasma, and that plasma being donated is still beneficial to someone with sickle cell. Our organization has the unique opportunity to partner with the Community Blood Center as well as the American Red Cross. So when you're seeing blood drives going on, oftentimes they may actually invite us, and we'll show up to some of those blood drives with a table and some information and materials about who that blood may very well be helping. Our board president receives 7 units of blood every month. And those 7 units more than likely aren't coming from the same person. But prayerfully, they are still coming from someone who looks like us, that he may be able to receive that blood and won't go through a rejection phase. Did that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions?
It seems like black people are more susceptible to have it. Is there a reason why? Is it just, that's just one thing that we've asked?
Okay, we'll talk a little bit. The question was, it seems like more black people seem to have sickle cell than anywhere else. And that goes into the history of sickle cell. There's still some medical argument about how sickle cell was developed, but what we do know is that sickle cell affects Africa, Asia, India, and parts of Europe. So we say sickle cell doesn't discriminate because it really doesn't. Sickle cell does affect a majority of black and brown people, Hispanics also, but keep in mind, just because somebody doesn't know that they have sickle cell or doesn't speak about sickle cell doesn't mean they don't have it. I have a friend, 100% Irish woman, found out she had sickle cell because her daughters were tested and found out that they had trait. She had been, as a white woman, treated for pain of unknown origin for 40 years before she found out her pain was sickle cell crisis. But because doctors were convinced that sickle cell can only affect black people, it was ruled out. No one ever asked questions until that young lady's daughter had to have a blood transfusion and she was tested and found to have sickle cell trait. Did that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a question, I have a comment. donation and so on. So, and I'm on a cycle of donation every, I don't know, whatever the amount of weeks are. But when that, you know, I schedule in, and that's one of the reasons why I stay with the Red Cross donation, because I know how serious it is and how few African Americans are doing the donations on a regular consistent. And so, and my blood is highly sought, if you will, because of the checks that you have to qualify for that donation to go to a specific group. So,
Okay.
and so part of why I came here today was because I don't know the other side of the recipients. I just know the donation part of, you know, what that is. And as a matter of fact, I would even give credit to Swope Park. Their blood donation that was started years ago, and I've stayed with it over these years, and eventually they found out I agreed that my blood, in fact, would and could go to the designation of sickle cell.
So it sounds like you're saying your blood is specifically held for someone with sickle cell.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Yes,
That's amazing.
Specifically. And I thought it was for youth, but now that you're talking, it may be for...
It can go both ways.
Okay.
There are youth in Children's Mercy Hospital that have to have hospital-based educators because they'll go to school for 3 days and then spend 3 weeks in the hospital. And some of that time is IV fluids and medication, but a lot of that time for some of those youth is apheresis or blood transfusions.
Right.
Apheresis is a process of pulling out unhealthy blood, cycling it, and then putting it back in with a little bit of additional blood.
Right.
Blood transfusions is just pulling out and pumping in new.
Right. Yeah. So I can go now.
Any other questions? Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Is it possible for you not to have sickle cell, you know, when you get shots or whatever, the blood transfusions, that you get blood and they never see anything, and then all of a sudden you can be an adult and have it?
Absolutely possible. So the difference in that is not that you don't have it, but sickle cell was not mandated to be tested for at birth until 1987. So there's a lot of people born that did not know they had sickle cell, and then over the course of several years, some doctor finally made the decision to test, and they found sickle cell trait and or sickle cell disorder. So it's not that you didn't have it, it's that they didn't know you had it. Now, it's mandated federally that every child born in the United States is tested for sickle cell trait. The problem we have in Missouri and Kansas is the notification goes to the parents in this big packet of information, and then there's no follow-up. And if the parents don't know to read the information, they don't even know to follow back up with the hospital. And then phone calls and letters being mailed to their houses. How many of us with sickle cell are living in a poverty state? So we think that that's just another bill that I'm trying to dodge, or that's a bill collector that I'm not going to answer the phone for.
Any other questions? Any other comments? This is a great organization. Swope Parkway through the American Red Cross, our blood drives that take place quarterly have partnered with Uriel Owens Sickle Cell of the Midwest. So it is because, you know, there are not enough Alice, Frankie, you can attest to this. There are not enough folks that are brown that are donating blood, even within our own congregation. There's like 5 folks that donate blood from Swope Parkway. Strongly encourage to get involved in that. We will be starting blood drives again in January or February. So please feel free to sign up and donate. So really appreciate you coming in and giving us this information. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so appreciate everybody staying. That was great of you to do. I hope it was informative. If you have other questions or stuff that comes up later, please let us know. You have some of the contact information up here, but we can also, Dr. Burke or Gwen, Dr. Burke has all the contact information too. Okay, so I think we're being informed. So please appreciate you all coming out and staying. Remember, in 2 weeks, Dr. Marshall will be coming and talking about aging. So we'll see you back then. You guys have a great afternoon. Take care of yourselves. Thank you, thank you, thank you.